It's really hard for me to boil it down to one comment, because I got to tell you, every morning I wake up or every night I go to bed, and there's going to be a comment at the beginning of my day and the end of my day that really lifts me up, that allows me to keep working on this thing. I'm most of the times working 16, 17, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I say working, but that's just under the classical definition. I don't feel like any of this is work. I really feel like I'm trying to share what I know with the world in the most open and transparent way to lift people up. I have people crying on the phone talking to me saying, you just don't know how much you've changed and impacted my life. It's a debt that will be very hard for me to repay. I said, the best way that you can repay me is to be successful and live a creative life, to be fulfilled, and for it to be sustainable. And that's how I know the model, the idea is working. That's proof of concept for me. But there's one moment in particular, and it was a very touching moment. And it started out as a joke. On one of our videos, I was helping out a young entrepreneur figure out how to bid and how to build his business. And he's like, Chris, how do I repay you for this? I said, well, what was this information worth to you? He's like, 30% or something. And I laughed. I said, yeah, that's great, but that's too much. How about 10%? When you're successful, send Uncle Chris a check for 10%. So in the comments below, people started doing hashtag 10%. And it became a running joke. Like, oh, it's not free content. It's you owe Chris. And this is built on a thank you economy model purely on reciprocation. So lo and behold, somebody reaches out to me on Twitter and says, Chris, I want to send you a check. It's not for very much money. I almost feel embarrassed to send it to you. I said, do whatever you want. There's no judgment here. So the check was for something like $14.68. And I opened it up, I looked at the check, and I didn't pay much attention to it. I go home, I tell my wife, honey, check this out. And I hand it to her, and she looks at me like, you can't cash this person's check for $14. That's wrong. We don't need the money, honey. Just send it back. I said, you know what? That was my initial reaction too. But then I thought about it. That would actually be an insult to this person who went out and said, here's the check. Whatever I have, this is what the promise was. I'm going to give it to you. And then I'm going to turn my nose and say, you know what? That's not enough money, or you're too poor, you can't afford it. That's not on my judgment. But what was really touching was I didn't read the little part, on all checks at the bottom says memo. So what was this for? The memo. So it says for what? And he wrote in there, a better life. And that almost had my wife in tears when she read that.